This is the creepiest discovery of archaeologists that surprised scientists. Ancient people in Turkey believed in immortality, and what was discovered in Spain can confirm this theory. Mysterious lead coffin and tunnel in Egypt, mystical substance in an ancient burial, and much more. You must watch this video to the end. Hi friend, you are on the KirTop channel. Female chief and mythological creatures. Archaeologists have discovered a throne room in Peru that dates back to the 7th century AD. Researchers found this ancient hall with columns and colorful frescoes in the coastal valley of Panamarca, more than 400 kilometers from Lima. Scientists believe that the room was built by the Moche culture about 1300 years ago, and it belonged to a female chief. The frescoes on the walls depict a woman on a throne receiving visitors. Archaeologists suggest that this may be an image of a ruler. The entire space of the hall was decorated with mythological scenes without empty surfaces. Archaeologist Jose Ochatoma says that the scenes on the frescoes tell about the ideology of the Moche, and another room was discovered nearby, the Hall of Intertwined Serpents. There, researchers saw frescoes depicting warriors and mythological creatures that have not been seen before in the archaeology of Peru. Engineering miracle in Egypt. Ancient Egypt continues to amaze modern researchers again. This time, an amazing tunnel was discovered under a temple in the ancient city of Taposiris Magna, which experts call a geometric miracle. The tunnel was found at a depth of 13 meters. Its length is 1305 meters, and its height is about 2 meters. It is carved into sandstone and resembles the famous Eupalinos tunnel on the Greek island of Samos, which is considered an engineering miracle. The exact purpose of the tunnel is still unknown, but some of its parts are flooded with water. Archaeologist Martinez, who has been searching for the lost tomb of Cleopatra VII since 2004, believes that the tunnel may lead to important discoveries. Taposiris Magna was founded around 280 BC by Ptolemy II, one of Cleopatra's ancestors. Archaeologists believe the temple was dedicated to Osiris and Isis, deities with whom Cleopatra was closely associated. The team also plans to explore the Mediterranean Sea, as a series of earthquakes between 320 and 1303 caused part of the temple to collapse into the water. In my previous videos, I described how tunnels were discovered connecting Lake Mariu to the Mediterranean. Arabian jewels in Russia. A record-breaking hoard of Arabian silver jewelry and coins dating back to the late 10th century has been discovered in Veliki Novgorod. The find was made on Vozdvizhinskaya Street during excavations at a construction site. This hoard, dubbed Vozdvizhinsky, was the third such discovery in the city. The hoard contained 1,800 whole and fragmented silver coins, as well as more than 80 silver jewelry pieces, weighing a total of about 3 kilograms. Among the jewelry pieces were some of the oldest silver crosses in Rus, which were previously little known. According to scientists, this is one of the largest archaeological discoveries in the history of Veliki Novgorod. Mysterious substance in a coffin. Archaeologists in northwestern China's Xinjiang region have made a shocking discovery. In an ancient coffin that was about 3,600 years old and contained mummies from the Bronze Age, a mysterious substance was found on the neck of one of the women. Today, scientists believe it is the oldest cheese in the world. The researchers isolated DNA from the substance and found that it was kefir cheese made from cow and goat milk. This discovery is important for understanding the origins of kefir and the evolution of probiotic bacteria. Qiao Mei Fu, from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and colleagues analyzed the bacteria, yeast, and proteins in the sample, which allowed them to identify the ancient cheese. The research suggests that kefir cheese was important to people at the time. It may have been placed in the grave as part of burial customs or as food for the afterlife. Interestingly, 2 types of cheese were found in the coffin, one made from goat's milk and one from cow's milk. Genetic studies have shown that the microorganisms in the cheese are similar to modern kefir strains found in East Asia and Tibet. This raises questions about the geographic origins of kefir. Previously, kefir was thought to have originated in the Caucasus, but new today points to a possible second source in Xinjiang. These results suggest that kefir has spread around the world via multiple routes, and its history is closely tied to the evolution of human culture. Famous Catman Key Marco. In front of the Marco Island Historical Museum in Florida stands a tall statue of a cat-like creature, a copy of a unique artifact that was found in 1896. The Smithsonian expedition was excavating a pond known as the Pile Dweller's Yard and discovered a wooden figurine under a layer of mud, a 15-centimeter tall figure of a Catman, which they named Key Marco the Cat. It is believed that it was carved by the indigenous people of the island, the Calusa. The anthropomorphic features and resemblance to the Florida cougar allowed researchers to conclude that the figurine was created before the arrival of Europeans. Today, the Key Marco cat is on display at the Marco Island Historical Museum. This artifact is one of the most famous finds in Florida and is located there on a long-term loan from the Smithsonian Institution. The statue of the Catman has become a symbol of Marco Island. It is featured on street signs, souvenirs, jewelry, and even in the designs of local businesses. Austin Bell, the museum's curator of collections, wrote a book, The 9 Lives of Key Marco, a famous cat detailing the story of the find and its long journey through various museums. Incredible floor mosaic. In the Turkish village of Salkaya, located in eastern Anatolia, a farmer accidentally discovered an ancient floor mosaic while planting saplings. The 84-square-meter mosaic is believed to date back to the late Roman or early Byzantine period. It amazes with its size, intricate geometric patterns, and images of many animals and plants, such as a lion, ibex, greyhound, deer, bear, and Anatolian leopard. The farmer who discovered the artifact, Mehmet Emin Sual, reported the find to the local museum directorate and the gendarmerie. Excavations began with the support of the Turkish Ministry of Culture and Tourism. During the excavations, ruins of a church and a wine cellar were found next to the mosaic, confirming its historical value. The mosaic is well preserved and is an important discovery for the region. Bronze artifacts in Turkey. At the ruins of the ancient castle of Ayanis, located in what is now Turkey, archaeologists have discovered bronze shields and a helmet that are about 2,700 years old. The artifacts, found under 20 meters of rubble, were created during the Urartian kingdom and were likely used for ceremonial purposes to honor the god Kaldi, a protector in war. Ayanis Castle was built as a fortress and royal residence during the reign of King Rusa II in the 7th century BC. However, it only stood for 25 years before it was destroyed by an earthquake. The newly discovered bronze shields and helmet were found in the ceremonial hall of the castle. Decorations on the helmet and intricate patterns on the shields confirmed that they were used in religious ceremonies. Other bronze objects have been found at the site previously, many of which are dedicated to Haldi, the main god of the Urartians, who was believed to protect them during warfare. Despite minor damage, the artifacts are well preserved, and restoration will help to restore them to their full form. Ayanis Castle remains the richest source of Urartian bronze artifacts in Turkey, and each find provides more information about the culture of this ancient kingdom. Giant Viking burial. Archaeologists have made a unique discovery in the village of Asum, east of Odense, Denmark. They have found more than 50 perfectly preserved Viking skeletons, which is rare for such burials. In addition to the skeletons, 5 cremation burials were found, which further increases the value of the find. According to archaeologist Michael Borre-Lundo, such finds open up new possibilities for studying the health, nutrition, and origins of people of that time. It may be possible to find out whether they were related. The burial site, which covers an area of about 2,000 square meters, dates back to the 9th, the 10th centuries, the period of the reign of Gorm and Thera. It is one of the largest Viking burials found on the island of Funen. Some of the graves indicate a high status of the deceased. For example, the burial of a noble woman buried in a wagon with items such as a glass bead necklace, a key, and a knife with silver trim. At her feet was a wooden chest, the contents of which remain a mystery. Also found in the burials were a bronze brooch and a piece of rock crystal, probably brought from Norway. These finds confirm that the Vikings had extensive trade connections. The connection between past and present archaeologists. While excavating an ancient Gaulish settlement near the town of Eu in northern France, archaeology students discovered a 200-year-old message in a glass bottle. The bottle was hidden in a clay pot along with 2 coins. The message was left by 19th century archaeologist Ferret, who had worked on the same site almost 2 centuries earlier. Written in January 1825, the message reads, P.J. Ferret, a native of Dieppe, a member of various intellectual societies, carried out excavations here in January 1825. He continues his researches in this area known as the Citadel of Limes, or the Camp of Caesar. The excavations, led by archaeologist Guillaume Blondel, were originally aimed at investigating an ancient Gaulish settlement located on the cliffs near Dieppe. The site is subject to erosion, which has forced emergency excavations. The team has already found numerous artifacts dating back 2,000 years, including pottery shards. Ferret's report not only documents the history of the research, but also creates a rare link between past and present archaeologists. Giant Jade Dragon. Chinese archaeologists have discovered the largest jade dragon from the Neolithic Hongshan culture. The artifact was found in the Yuan Baoshan rock tomb located in Aohan Province, Inner Mongolia. The jade dragon measures 15.8 centimeters in length, 9.5 centimeters in width, and 3 centimeters in thickness, and is a unique find, which has no analogs in the region. The excavations also revealed architectural remains, fragments of human bones, tombs, hearths, and various artifacts, including jade and painted ceramics. Among them were tripod bowls and basins. Carbon-14 dating showed that the object belongs to the late Hongshan culture and was created more than 5,000 years ago. Artificial intelligence finds new geoglyphs. Archaeologists have used artificial intelligence, AI, to discover 303 new geoglyphs near the Nazca lines in Peru. Depicting parrots, cats, monkeys, killer whales, and even decapitated heads, the figures nearly double the number of known drawings at the enigmatic 2,000-year-old archaeological site. A team from Yamagata University in Japan, in collaboration with IBM Research, has found previously unknown geoglyphs that are significantly smaller in size than the giant geometric patterns created between 200 and 700 AD. Dating back to 200 BC, the figures provide new evidence of the transition from the Paracas to the Nazca culture, which later created such famous designs as the hummingbird, monkey, and whale. According to archaeologist Masato Sakai, the use of AI has made it possible to speed up and improve the process of mapping the geoglyphs. Using this approach, the team was able to find 303 new drawings in just 6 months, which is significantly faster than the previous almost a century, when 430 geoglyphs were discovered. The AI helped to recognize small relief geoglyphs that are difficult to notice with the naked eye, as well as analyze huge amounts of data collected by drones to identify potential locations for new finds. Drones and artificial intelligence have become a quantum leap in the study of geoglyphs. Some of the new drawings are only 7 meters in size, so they remained undetected by traditional research methods. Ancient Scythian attack. Archaeologists have discovered a gigantic hoard of bronze and iron objects in a besieged Iron Age village in the Buk Mountains of northern Hungary. An expedition to the site of the Dadistapolcsányi Verebsi settlement, which began in 2020, has yielded many valuable finds, including evidence of destruction associated with a Scythian attack around the 7th century BC. The settlement was located on the top of the Verebse Burk mountain and occupied a strategic position with a view of the surrounding lands. This is a typical feature of fortified settlements of that era. The settlement flourished in the early Iron Age, located at the crossroads of cultural routes. However, archaeological evidence indicates that it was destroyed by a brutal attack by Scythians from the Pontic steppe, modern-day Ukraine and southern Russia. One of the main pieces of evidence for this attack were the hundreds of Scythian bronze arrowheads found throughout the settlement. In addition, a layer of burnt buildings and melted bronze objects was discovered, indicating that the village was burned during the attack. These finds are a stark reminder of the violence that led to the demise of this once prosperous community. New Mayan ruins. Archaeologists are finding more and more Mayan ruins thanks to new technologies and satellites that help to detect structures hidden under dense forests. As Texas Tech University archaeology professor Brett Houck told a NASA conference, scientists have discovered more Mayan sites in the last 10 years than in the previous 150 years. The main tool that helps in this is LiDAR, laser scanning technology. LiDAR allows you to see through dense forest vegetation and reveal structures that were previously hidden. With the help of this technology, archaeologists are finding more and more ruins in what is now Mexico, Guatemala, and Belize. One such project is a study in northeastern Belize, where a team of scientists is studying an area of 650 square kilometers. In just a few days, scientists have discovered 28 new large sites. The technologies of the past used by the Maya to manage water and farm may still be useful today. Tim Murtha of the University of North Carolina at Charlotte noted that the Maya adapted to changing climate conditions by creating systems of terraces and reservoirs to combat droughts. These ancient techniques may hold important lessons for today's changing climate. Bull-shaped vessel. Archaeologists have discovered ritual artifacts dating back more than 6,000 years in Solnitsa, Bulgaria. The excavations took place in the prehistoric settlement of Solnitsa, located near Provadia. The site was an important center for the production of salt, a valuable resource at the time. The first inhabitants extracted brine from salt springs by evaporating it in ceramic jars placed in pits. Over time, they developed special ovens that could process up to 30 kilograms of salt at a time, significantly increasing the scale of production. However, a series of earthquakes undermined the economy and defense of the settlement, leading to its decline. The recent discovery of a ritual pit with sacrifices has provided new insight into the spiritual practices of the inhabitants. Among the artifacts was a zoomorphic vessel in the shape of a bull, symbolizing strength and fertility, as well as a ceramic vessel with geometric patterns and miniature figurines. Remains of ancient dwellings and a Thracian house were found, which complements the historical context of the salt house. Rare artifacts from the Titanic. An alligator skin handbag and tiny perfume bottles that still exude a powerful scent are just a few of the precious artifacts found during the excavation of the sunken Titanic. The location of the warehouse containing these relics is a closely guarded secret, only known to be located in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. The shelves are filled with thousands of items, from an overturned bathtub and portholes to tiny buttons and glassware. Thomasina Ray, Director of Collections at RMS Titanic Inc., showed off an alligator skin handbag belonging to Marion Meanwell, a third-class passenger. Marion was a 63-year-old milliner who was traveling to the United States to visit her daughter. Her bag contained important documents and photographs. Her tragic fate was that she had originally booked a ticket for another ship, but ended up on the Titanic and was one of the 1,500 who died. Other artifacts include perfume bottles belonging to Adolf Saalfeld, a perfumer and first-class passenger who survived the disaster. The scent of the perfume can still be smelled today, despite the fact that it has been lying on the ocean floor for decades. The collection also includes a bottle of champagne with the drink inside, found among the many kitchen utensils on the ocean floor. The Titanic was a luxury liner, and there was a huge amount of champagne on board for the first-class passengers who enjoyed the highest level of comfort. The tableware on board reflected the class divisions: rough white ceramics for third class, exquisite gold-rimmed plates for first-class passengers. These objects helped to recreate the atmosphere of life on board. RMS Titanic Inc., the company that is authorized to retrieve artifacts from the ship, recently announced its desire to retrieve the Marconi radio that transmitted distress signals. Some believe that the sunken ship is a burial site that should be left alone. However, Thomasina Ray notes the importance of preserving the memory of the tragedy through these artifacts. What do you think? Should the ship be left alone, or should an attempt be made to raise it to dry land? Write your opinion in the comments below the video. They believed in immortality. Archaeologists in Turkey have unearthed rare Thracian artifacts that will help us learn more about this ancient civilization known for its quest for immortality. Excavations have been underway at the ancient city of Harayan Taikos in northwestern Turkey since 2000, uncovering statues, coins, burial mounds, and medical artifacts that help us understand the Thracians. Recent finds include clay figurines of the Great Mother, the most important deity in Thracian culture. Professor Nessi Atik, a leading archaeologist and dean of Istanbul's Rumeli University, said the Thracians were a powerful civilization in the 4th century BC that occupied parts of modern-day Bulgaria, Greece, and Romania. The Thracians left no written records, but their lives were described in the annals of the Greeks and Romans. Excavations at the Acropolis have uncovered religious artifacts related to the Great Mother and the god of health. The Thracians believed in immortality, considering their king symbolically married to the Great Mother, which granted them eternal life. Medical objects were also found: a bowl for preparing medicines, containers and bone spoons for measuring ingredients, which speaks of the medical knowledge of the Thracians. Incredibly rare bed. An extremely rare piece of furniture has been discovered beneath the bustling center of London after going unnoticed for centuries. Archaeologists have begun excavations near the Holborn Viaduct in preparation for the construction of an office block. While digging in the damp earth, archaeologists have uncovered an ancient Roman cemetery containing 5 wooden coffins and a completely preserved wooden burial bed. The bed, which is almost 2,000 years old, was made from high-quality oak. Its legs were intricately carved and the joints were held in place by small wooden pegs. Archaeologists believe the bed was dismantled before it was placed in the grave, but it may have been used to carry the deceased to the burial site and was intended for the afterlife. Such burial beds are known from depictions in the Roman Empire, but this is the first complete example to be found in Britain. As well as the wooden furniture, archaeologists have found human remains, beads, a lamp, and a glass vessel. Later ruins have been found near the Roman burials, including evidence of a medieval leather workshop. The Roman Empire invaded Britain in 43 AD and held power for about 400 years. The cemetery near Holborn Viaduct was in use during this period. An observatory without a telescope. Before the invention of the telescope, astronomers used primitive instruments to observe the sky. One of the most prominent astronomers was Tycho Brahe, a Danish scientist who achieved astonishingly accurate results using instruments such as the astrolabe and armillary sphere. His data on the positions of planets and stars were far more accurate than any previous observations. Tycho Brahe compiled the first star catalog, including more than 1,000 stars, which became an important reference for subsequent scientists. In 1572, he observed a supernova, which overturned Aristotle's idea of the immutability of celestial objects. His collaboration with Johannes Kepler led to the formulation of the 3 laws of planetary motion, which became the basis for the work of Isaac Newton. In 1576, King Frederick II of Denmark gave Tycho the island of Hven, where he built the Uraniborg Observatory. It was the first observatory specifically built for astronomical observations. The observatory included living quarters, astronomical instruments, and an alchemical laboratory. Brahe's main motto engraved in the library was, "What a man is more important than what he is thought to be." After Frederick II's death, Tycho lost support and was forced to leave Vienna in 1597. After his death, the observatory was destroyed by order of the new king, Christian IV. Today, Uraniborg and neighboring Stjärneborg have been partially restored and included in a museum dedicated to the life and legacy of Tycho Brahe. Unknown Mozart piece. A piece by the famous composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, which had been kept in the collections of Leipzig libraries for over a century, was recently discovered during work on a new edition of the Köchel Catalog. The catalog is a reference book on Mozart's work and is compiled by the International Mozarteum Foundation in Salzburg. The discovered serenade, entitled Serenade XC, is 12 minutes long and was probably written in the mid to late 1760s when Mozart was between the ages of 10 and 13. Ulrich Lasinger, head of research at the foundation, noted that the style of the piece indicates an early stage of the composer's work, adding that he would not have written such music at the age of 17. While it is impossible to prove the authorship 100%, Lasinger said that similarities to other works by Mozart of that time and the presence of his name on the notes point to its authenticity. The discovered composition was first presented at the International Mozarteum Foundation in Salzburg and performed at the Leipzig Opera. Unusual remains of ancient monkeys. In one of the caves on the island of Hispaniola in the Caribbean Sea, fossilized remains of ancient primates were found, which probably became the prey of a large predatory owl. The discovery was reported in the Journal of Human Evolution. Excavations were carried out in a flooded cave in the Dominican Republic, where archaeologists discovered 7 skulls, 5 lower jaws, and many other skeletal fragments. Scientists came to the conclusion that these remains belonged to the species Antolothrix bernensis, which became extinct about 10,000 years ago. According to the study, the primates that lived on Hispaniola weighed up to 2 kilograms and probably lived in small families, eating fruit. Experts suggest that the remains ended up at the bottom of the cave after an attack by a predatory bird. Professor Siobhan Cook notes that marks on the bones indicate that these primates fell victim to a large owl. The skulls and jaws show damage typical of birds of prey. Mysterious remains in a lead coffin. After the 2019 Notre Dame Cathedral fire, archaeologists discovered 100 unknown burials beneath the cathedral during restoration work, including a mysterious lead coffin. French researchers believe that the remains may be those of the famous French Renaissance poet Joachim du Bellay, who died in 1560. The remains, found in 2022, were nicknamed the Horseman due to the structure of the bones, which indicate that the man had been riding a horse from an early age. Du Bellay, whose tomb was thought to be lost, was believed to have been buried in the cathedral next to his uncle. However, attempts to find him in 1758 were unsuccessful. Researchers from the National Institute for Preventive Archaeological Research have confirmed that the mysterious horseman may be Du Bellay. The coffin, which was different from the others in its lead structure, attracted the attention of scientists. Research showed that the man died at the age of about 30 from tuberculous meningitis, which was not typical for most of the elderly men buried in the cathedral. Scientists from the University of Toulouse conducted additional tests and found that the man buried in the cathedral suffered from the same diseases that Du Bellay described in his poems. Despite this, the slight discrepancy in the geographical origin of the horseman and the poet remains a mystery. Despite minor doubts, everything points to the fact that the remains belong to Du Bellay. Hidden burial chamber. While cleaning a 3,900-year-old tomb in Egypt, archaeologists have discovered a hidden burial chamber. The work was carried out in the ancient tomb of Djefi Hapi in Asyut. According to a statement from Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, a team of Egyptian and German archaeologists discovered the chamber while following a shaft about 15 meters deep. Inside the small rectangular chamber, archaeologists found two ornate wooden sarcophagi nested inside each other. They belonged to a woman named Edi, the only daughter of Djefi Hapi, an important Namarch of Asyut province who lived around 1900 BC under Pharaoh Senusret I. Photos show the colorful sarcophagus in good condition. However, the chamber was robbed in ancient times, the mummy was damaged, and the mummification vessels were destroyed. Despite this, archaeologists found some parts of Edi's remains, the lid of the sarcophagus, and carved figures. Preliminary analysis suggests that Edi died young, probably before age 40, and suffered from a congenital foot defect. The rock-cut tomb of Djefi Hapi is considered the largest privately owned tomb from the Middle Kingdom. Why the Vikings needed the Arctic. The Vikings carried out incredible sea voyages in search of precious ivory, reaching the most remote northern regions of the Earth. New genetic studies of 31 ivory artifacts found in museums across Europe show that they reached Greenland and the Arctic, interacting with local peoples such as the Inuit and their predecessors, the Tunit. Almost half of these walrus ivory artifacts come from animals that lived in the regions between northwest Greenland and Arctic Canada, indicating extensive trade linked to the high demand for ivory in medieval Europe. Archaeologist Peter Jordan of Lund University says the finds raise questions about how small Greenlandic communities could have mounted such large expeditions. The Greenlandic explorers likely waited for the ice to melt to open up a narrow 10-week window for hunting and trading. While there is no evidence of direct contact between the Vikings and the indigenous peoples of North America, scientists believe it is possible. Research suggests that the Vikings were not only farmers and settlers, but also astute traders who strategically extracted resources. The high demand for ivory may have led to overexploitation of the resource, which ultimately led to their abandonment of Greenland in the 14th century. Surprised scientists 450 years later. More than 4 centuries after her death in 1582, Saint Teresa of Avila has once again captured the attention of believers around the world. In late August 2023, her remains were exhumed, and scientists discovered that the saint's body had not undergone the process of decomposition. A team of researchers compared modern photographs with images taken in 1914 and confirmed that the saint's face remained clearly visible. The exhumation was carried out in the Diocese of Avila in Spain under the direction of Marco Chiesa, the general postulator of the Discalced Carmelite order. The Catholic Church shared the news on social media, stating her body is still incorrupt. Seek God's miracles. The silver coffin, encased in marble, was opened to study the state of health of the saint at the time of her death. Chiesa noted that although the skin color is difficult to determine due to mummification, the facial features, especially in the middle part, remain clear, which was confirmed by medical experts. Saint Teresa, a Spanish nun, became the first woman to be elevated to the rank of Doctor of the Church in 1970 for her significant contributions to church teaching. She was canonized in 1622 and her body was repeatedly described as incorruptible. Researchers believe that studying the remains of Saint Teresa can shed light on the reasons for such a long preservation of the body and provide important recommendations for the preservation of relics. 10 keys were used to open the tomb, which are held by different individuals and organizations. The Duke of Alba, the city of Alba de Torme, the Superior General of the Carmelite Order, and the King of Spain. After the autopsy, the remains of Saint Teresa were transferred to a secure room where they were examined by a team of doctors and scientists. It was decided to conduct a visual examination, take photographs and X-rays, and send samples to a lab in Italy for further analysis. The full results of the analysis will not be available for several months. The study revealed that Saint Teresa had heel spurs, calcium deposits on her feet that caused severe pain when walking. Despite this, Teresa continued to travel until her death, covering significant distances. In 1582, she traveled to the city of Alba de Torme, despite her poor health, to visit her friend Anne Bartholomew. The saint began to feel ill and died 3 days after her arrival. Local dioceses, as well as scientific and religious organizations, continue to study her remains, hoping to gain new information about her life, health, and how Saint Teresa was able to maintain her fortitude despite all her physical suffering. Give this video a thumbs up or down and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching until the end. Bye, everyone.